I poured so much into you. I realized that the energy is now affecting you. Secondly, she needs to begin to show what real love, respect, like Amos.
They'll come back to what Elder Amos was saying.
What she needs to now begin to show her that picture.
Okay.
And then thirdly, she needs to get her mentors, marriage mentors. That is couples who have gotten it right, so that it will overwrite the picture that she has created. So deliberately let her visit some friends. If you have uncles that have good marriages, let her begin to see a different picture so that you can overwrite what you've done. Now, concomitant with this is that she needs to get professional help. Because these are wires. Yes,
the
for
child
the girl.
or the
Yes,
mother.
no, for the girl.
Okay.
Because you have wired her now, and if you don't deconstruct, she's going to become the carbon copy of her dad. Yes, because that's the wiring. Because do you realize that
most of the dad and not the mother?
No, of the dad. Because do you realize that most rapists and abusers were abused, either emotionally or physically? Yes, because that is the wiring. Yeah. That is the wiring. So what you have sown into her, she's going to become the exact copy of her dad. That is if she even gets into a relationship. We should pray to God. Otherwise, we may even end up on the other side. Because she will so detest marriage that she'll go for the other one. And so she needs to really take it serious. This is not something you joke at all. And you have just about 3 years to correct this before she starts hitting 19 and going into the 20s. So get her professional help. There are people, psychologists, counseling psychologists, NLP practitioners who can support this girl to deconstruct and to overwrite whatever it is that you have put in. But the mom first start with you yourself. Apologize to this girl. And then, as I said, deliberately begin to change the pictures by giving her mentors, by showing her examples of marriage. And so she begins, so not all marriages are like this. Because currently, the dominant picture of marriage that she sees is what you have painted for. But she needs to know that not all marriages are like that.
And this approach works same for a son, if it was the mistake that you made. Elder Amos, what do you have to say on this?
Well, I mean, the most dangerous place is to be stereotyped, where you have a skewed picture of a complete image. And the person gives you just what has not been working well.
That's right.
But what works well, you never get to know.
Yeah.
And I see that happening to a lot of children, particularly when it comes to couples who are aggrieved. They only tell you the negative side of their spouse. So the good side of the spouse is often on your blind side, and you've got to dig, and discover. And the danger of these persons recycling it, as Michael has pointed out, is real. I've sat with persons who said to me, when I looked at my dad or my mom, I resented their behavior. But now as an adult, I'm becoming just like them, and it scares me.
Yeah.
And you hear people say, I didn't want to be, but now I'm becoming.
It's wiring.
It's wiring. And especially when you have not deliberately deconstructed yourself from it. You see, so there's a need for us, in order not to recycle this, for the mother to go back and do the processes. And those that are beyond her, she seeks external support.
And talk about external support, Mama says, please recommend good professional help. I think maybe I should answer before we forget to move on to something. We'll talk about that.
Offline, yes.
Okay, all right. So, Mami, we'll connect with you on that.
Yes, offline will be very helpful. The other thing I also would want to add is this, that you see, it's fatal error to summarize the problem of a woman as man. And summarize the problem.
You want to say that again? Yes,
it's a fatal error to summarize the problem of a woman as man. When you do that, you become simplistic, because our problems are a very complex bundle of many interlocking parts, and sometimes we are not painstaking in the way we actually diagnose issues. So hasty conclusions, it is this one, so it is that. And then it feeds into some agenda which is being funded by a financier. And then that becomes the popular notion. So you go out there and the man and the woman are fighting each other because you are my problem. And she sees you are my problem. But the real thing is, there's a problem bigger than both of you. Some actually predates you.
Yeah.
Like the nurturing,
Yeah.
the environment, all these things are factors. But for every woman who is listening, I like an old English
share with us,
statement. It says, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
Okay.
Let's go to our homes and ask ourselves, which hand rocks the cradle? The cradle is, we say, from the cradle to the grave. Yeah. Okay? So the cradle, the one that rocks, has the baby in the arms and rocking the baby, actually is the one who shapes the baby. Whose hand is that? The popular and the propensity of the hands are mothers. So the most frightening reality for you, the women listening, is this. Right in your arms lie the power to mold both a beauty and a beast. What you should ask yourself is this. What is your molding raising?
What is your molding raising?
Is it a beast or a beauty? Because you can look at it. Look at Jesus. Jesus is walking somewhere. He does something, and they raise a connection to his father. Is that not the carpenter's son? That's the influence of a father. Yeah. Then he does something very powerful. Everybody is talking about it. He says, blessed is the womb that conceived you.
Yes.
And blessed is the breast that suckled you. So the indispensable impact of father and mother is so important that we cannot underestimate its power.
This one, I would say maybe Elder Amos has tackled it, but let me just ask on your behalf. So if your husband doesn't allow you to be a good wife, he doesn't allow you to express yourself at home, you have no say, and all your kids are boys. Okay, I'm not sure he has tackled all of this one.
No.
How do you prevent your boys from emulating this?
Let my kids speak.
Over to you, Mr. Ohene-Effah.
Very good question. I think first of all, we are dealing with a man who is unsure of himself, who is suffering from self-worth. And that is how come he doesn't want the wife to self-express. So we'll have to get help for the man, for him to appreciate himself for being who he is. So that's one side of the story. The other side of the story is what Amos said earlier on. You need to learn to honor and respect your husband regardless. Okay. So you can do this deliberately because you want to paint a certain picture for your boys. And so do not allow the actions of your husband, which is born out of illiteracy, because he's also battling his own demons. Yeah. Do not allow that to shape your own behavior towards him, because then you are also inadvertently showing your boys exactly what should not be. So if you can kindly get help for your husband, he needs to deal with his issues. But on your own, what you can do is, regardless. You see, wives, and Amos has touched on it, wives need to learn to lead from behind.
Leading from behind.
Yes. That is one of the major problems we are having today. The wives must learn to lead from behind. That is actually the real leadership. Yeah. That is actually the real leadership. You know, in a Akan traditional setting, there is a chief called Chidomhene. He's the last chief. When they are going for battle, he's the last. He carries the wounded. So he always allows about 1 kilometer. He comes with his troops, and when they are wounded, he then clears, he then supports. The Chidomhene is one of the most important chiefs in the palace because his role is so important. You know, he comes back after everything is gone, and then he begins to repair, he begins to mend, he begins to provide healing for wounded soldiers. Women need to learn to be Chidomhenes. You see, a lot of us, yes, you've gone to school, you are working, you are, providing for the, and so some of the women are leading from the front. Yes, I know my right generation of women is distorting what God ordered in Ephesians, and I'm not the one saying it. So, if you can learn to lead from behind, if you can learn to, and this is where the respect and the honor comes in. So don't let your husband feel threatened. If you let your husband feel threatened, then he will come at you with all the beast You know, because somebody says that inside of every man are two creatures.
I don't think women are equipped to handle that beast.
Yes, exactly. Are two creatures. So if you let, and also inside of a woman are also two creatures. So whichever you feed will come out. Whichever you feed will come out.
This one says, "Good morning to our guest. I always shouted at my child and hit them at the same time when they misbehaved. I've learned to keep calm and talk to them or keep mute and stare. I've made progress that is unbelievable.
Very good.
We are talking to each other more, where they are telling me a lot of things and progress they are making. I sincerely appreciate them. Sonny, please keep us going." Thank you very much, Gwen, for sharing that with us. Yeah.
You know, speaking about this leading from behind, I learned that from Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
Good.
And he says that you lead from behind in tranquility. You lead from the front when there is danger coming. So it's more of an interventionist approach. If the woman is intervening and leading from the front, she must not become overbearing.
Okay.
If you read The Art of War, you know, it's a very powerful book to read. Now, there's a need for us to understand how the large bodies of rivers took their heights from. It is when they were sublime, then the other rivers flowed into it. So they took their large space. Now, a lot of women think that to lead, you must be in charge. And it is the biggest deceit, because that throws away servant leadership. And it's much the same way with many men who don't understand headship. And they think headship means be in control. Headship means be the boss. My word is the final authority in this house and all that. So many of the men have become know it all, be it all, and they have it all. So when he doesn't have money, he can't even tell his wife he doesn't have money. Because it wipes away his sense of being manliness.
Masculinity.
Exactly. When he's ill, he cannot admit he's ill. So I don't want
to add another one to it.
You know, so the wife now is providing, and especially when you tie your headship to breadwinnership, that's a dire place to be.
Okay.
So the woman now is earning more than you. Then all of a sudden, jitters. It's like a car that can't start well. You want to move on, but you can't move on because the one who has the solvency is the woman. So if breadwinnership is headship, then it means you have lost your headship. But Jesus is the head of the church, but he's not overbearing, because he told them that the people of the world, the Pharisees, they lord it over the people. But in this kingdom, to be head, you actually must be the least amongst us.
That's right.
Okay.
And that takes us to the place of being on your knees and taking towels. My friend Dr. Pebi likes this, line. He says, leadership is not about titles, it's about towels. And I like it so much because it shows you the servant leadership model, which we need. Because for the husband to be the head of his wife, not every woman, let me add.
His wife.
Don't bring it to Ohene-Effah and say you are the man and therefore every woman.
No. The men are looking at you. No.
All those men in Sunny who try to say the women should submit to them. It's not women. It's your wife.
Your wife.
Take it to your house. It's a domestic injunction. So it's important to understand that. Otherwise, you end up destroying yourself because it's a self-destructive button to press. And so we should learn that. And then, you see, the woman is to honor her husband as the church honors Christ. Have you noticed that Christ loves us irrespective of who we are and what we do?
Yeah.
So the love is actually an unconditional love that the man must have for his wife. And the wife must not negotiate respect and say, if you behave well, I'll respect you. Where is it in the scripture that you should respect those who deserve respect? In much the same way, the man who doesn't want to love his wife because he thinks that she's too strong and all that. Where is it written that you should love the wife who is sublime? Yours is to love her. And love her and love her. And hers is to honor you and honor you and honor you. But what I've seen is this: both love and respect are desired by people who often don't deserve it.
We have a message here. Mommy says, I was just asking God some questions this morning, and you're answering them.
Wow.
We thank God for that.
Thank God that God uses mortal beings.
Yes, amen. Amen.
Respond to our needs as people.
I mean, it's a great conversation for me this morning, too. And this one says, it's from a friend of mine, Agnes. Agnes has a special needs child, and it's amazing the feedback she's sharing. Says, God have mercy. I'm blessed, Pa. I've been more patient with Barry as well. Says, I need help, Pa, to rewire. He saw too much and heard too much. Says, same here. I'm seeing him opening up more, and we're communicating. God bless Ohene-Effah. We thank God for the atmosphere that's changing in homes. I think before, when my son came to tell me that his Captain American toy was missing, I didn't get it. I was like, Captain the toy. But after listening to my Ohene-Effah, I'm like, oh, so sorry. So can I help you find it? And he really appreciates it. So I'm also making my own small changes. It's the I Drive on Sunny 88.7 FM, and we're soon wrapping up here. There's a question my producer, this was a special one from my producer, Douglas, who wants us to mention this one. I think I mentioned to Amos off the air. So for parents who have sons who seem to have what the society will say as more feminine tendencies or feminine dispositions, and so society is calling them names. They step out and they're being called names of Barbary Ma and all that. I remember there was a friend of mine who said, a pastor approached me and he thought I was gay, but apparently the pastor was. He was straight, though he had all the mannerisms. Now, for a parent, your son comes up to you to tell you, this is a challenge I'm facing at school. When I go to church, these are the comments I'm hearing about myself. How do you tackle this? And even greater or even further, for parents who have to handle their sons coming to tell them, I feel I'm attracted to boys. How do you handle this? I have to sit back for this one.
I also sit back for Michael.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have some people who are feminine. So, yes, they may have, gestures, mannerisms, a few behaviors that would, and that is very fine, because all of us actually are ranges. All of us are ranges. We some are middle, some are towards the tip and all of that. But the most important thing is to not let the son feel like he's disabled or challenged simply because he's effeminate. It's crucially important that you don't let him feel like he's disabled. There's nothing wrong with him, because you see, when you take out a 200 Ghana cedi note and you crumple it, the value is still the same.
It's true.
So the external does not matter if the internal is solid.
Okay.
The crumpling of a 200 cedi note does not change its value. And you need to let your son feel this way, that he does not feel disabled, he does not feel like he is different, and everybody is different. So one is to go on a tangent of helping him to, one, discover himself, one, to appreciate and love himself for who he is. Now, I tell young people, God created you, and God does not make junk. Everything God created was good, and he blessed it. And so whether you have a hand, whether you have 6 toes, whether you have 6 fingers, whether your nose is flyer, or whatever it is, God made it, and God made it perfect. And so you need to embark on a journey to help this son to love himself, self-worth. Self-worth. And there are several things that you can do for him to feel valued. It's very important, because the wiring is very, very important. So that is what you need to do.
Can you mention 2 of those things, please, that the parents can do?
No,
yes.
First of all is, one, I don't know the age of this child, this constant communication with him. Letting him feel love, let him appreciate it. Then 2, stop criticism. So some of these also start from the home. Because when he does, you are cooking, why are you a boy? You want to go and join your brother. So some starts from the parenting. And so this boy is sitting somewhere and is ringing in his head. You know, even my mom says, I mean, yeah, you know. So that's one.
Is not
exactly. It's only affirming what he has heard from home.
Okay.
So that is what we need to do. What are you saying? What are you telling? And then one, you yourself, the mom, needs to stop giving negative energy.
Okay.
Because once you start worrying, you are transferring that energy to the son. So you yourself, you need to transform your mind towards this situation. Because when you come across that, hey, and what am I going to do? And that becomes your prayer topic. You are inadvertently transferring the energy you don't want. So there's nothing wrong with this boy. Just like some women are a bit muscular, same thing. He's not disabled. God made him for a special purpose. Let him discover that purpose. And here I'm going to be selfish. We have a course on myleadershipfarm.com, which is our online site, on purpose discovery and who I am.
Please say the website again.
www.myleadershipfarm.com. It's a specially created learning platform for young people. Let him log on. It's free, or you just pay about 90 days every year. Let him go there and learn who he is, and make sure that you the parent, you are learning some of these courses, and then let it become the basis of a conversation.
Okay.
So that it begins to change the wiring. If you don't, and he grows into the teens, early 20s with it may define him forever.
So just before we sign, I will let Mr. Ohene-Effah give out the number for Leader Freak International, because there's a lot of resource we can gather from them. Elder Amos, so your question, I think I'll leave it to when if your son walks up to you. But before, let me just, I think this will probably be our final question. We wrap up this morning, so let me just share this one. Effah Nyako says, JJD, I really need help. My husband, considering his temperament, hardly leads. He'll expect me to initiate all the time. This is becoming frustrating in raising up our boys. We have 3 boys and 1 girl, and I virtually do everything. I feel like I'm raising them alone. I don't like my method when I listen to programs like this. But I don't know how. I'm exhausted. And she says, I never had I need help. The kids fear only me and daddy, and daddy will go like, mommy's coming, before they stop. You know, you've always said they say daddy's coming. In this situation is mommy is coming. I never had a father figure in my life, and I just want my kids to have that. Like having a dad who can take them out, teach them. I mean, just having time for them so they get a great memory of him. He's a good dad, but he's been adamant in learning how to do it. I repeat, I need help because it is having a toll on my marriage. I know you said a lot on this.
Well, I'll come to that, but let me add to what Mickey just shared on this mother's dilemma. Now, it's important for us to understand that masculinity is not about toughness only.
That's right.
There is a tenderness to masculinity. And you know where I get it from? Revelation chapter 5. When Jesus is portrayed as the Lion of the tribe of Judah who prevails when there was a need for somebody to step forward. And just a verse down, he is portrayed as the Lamb of God which was slain. So here is Jesus portrayed as a courageous person and also portrayed as a compassionate, caring individual. Now we need our boys to have that balance. Otherwise, they'll just have toughness. And that's what the AP, American Psychological Association, defines as toxic masculinity. That's right. So we don't want boys in that frame. I remember growing up, a lot of people saw me and say, what's your mommy? With your bow, bank. I heard it.
Oh, you heard those comments?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but for our time, nobody was writing to reinforce that you are something other than a boy. Now, what the young boys today are having rather is this, that Usel Mami means you should have been a woman. Usel Papa means you should have been a man. So when these things are reframed, that's repeatedly to you, they reinforce a feeling that you are a boy locked up in a girl's body, or you are a girl locked up in a boy's body. Then your siblings are playing with you, say, you're a tom girl. You're tomboy. Then it reinforces it and makes you look awkward. Then all of a sudden, you see the boy begins to act it out when people make hits on them or advances towards them. And I've seen a lot of boys, because of my work, it's quite delicate. You know, sometimes I don't like to talk about it in public, but the boys struggle to to live what the people say they are, or to live who they really are. You know, so that is a very painful place to find a boy or a girl in that place. I have girls who growing beard on their chin. Then somebody sees them and say, "What they can get? It's like Bema." We are Bema na waninto wabasa okwa. You know, and in the West now, people then take puberty blockers to ensure that they don't turn out as boys or girls. Then before you realize, it gets into depression. They become suicidal and they can't fit into any mold.
Actually, read a story of one who now decided to reverse.
Now it's a sad thing. So that's what I will add to what Mickey.
Yes, and fine, let's go to the mother and
then the mother
wrap up.
Whose husband is not leading.
Who's saying when your mommy comes, you'll see.
It reminds me of what I heard. And I said, I refuse this invitation. Now, what she needs to understand is this. You see, temperamentally, it may be how he's wired. Because phlegmatics don't tend to take the lead. But they are comfortable following others taking the lead. But you see, over time, what we need to do is to help him to interact with other men. He sees other men do what fathers do. And it helps him to gain the confidence. Because the temptation for such a woman, the reason you're getting frustrated is you're pushing him into a terrain he's not too familiar with, or he's not comfortable. And his default now is something he's comfortable with. That comfort zone, to take him out, does not require scolding, does not require yelling, does not require threats. You don't need to push him. You need to nudge him. You need to inspire him. So what is it that he's doing right? Have you told him what he's doing right? You see, the other thing is this. There are a lot of people who critique but don't comment. And so here you are saying he's a good man. If he's a good man, the question I'll ask you, have you told him he's a good man? Have you pointed it out to him? These things you do shows you're a good dad. He may not have even heard that before, but he's only hearing what he's not doing right. And repeatedly, you reinforce a negativity in him rather than a positive outlook. So you have created a culture and an atmosphere in home where now he comes home and he's afraid. So you are going to turn your husband into a timid brother. Let him interact with men. Let him, buy him a gift, a book which talks about fathers, for instance, rather than going to buy cake. No, get him to read. Get him to watch a video. There's what is called The Kingdom Man, for instance. It's fantastic. Or The Masked Men Wear, which Letitia, Michael's wife, showed to me many years ago. Let him watch these things. You see, some of us, we are not intentional about how we get our spouses to be interested in things that will bless them without feeling pushed. And the last thing a man wants...
Without feeling pushed.
You see, the last thing just 2 days ago, I was writing a few things, and I was sharing with a friend. Is your spouse an equation you are trying to solve?
Oh, that almost have started a new series.
Is it a problem you are trying to fix? Sometimes, and I was processing, I was just sitting down, having heard so many things. When a man feels like he's a problem to be fixed, you've killed him.
But do we see what is happening? She said, I never had a father figure in my life.
The foundations.
The wiring. So she attracted the same thing in the man. See, earlier we talked about the transfer of energy. And it's the same thing. We see it now live. So what she didn't have, what she dreaded, she attracted.
You see, the point is, what we don't have, we long in others.
Yes.
And what we had, we wish we could avoid it.
So a lot of the time we don't take some of these things serious. Energy, atmosphere, and then the wiring. We don't. But these are the things that are pressing what we see on the outward.
We want to acknowledge Hey Looks. So far, Hey Looks has been has been holding us with Raising Boys Hot Topic Thursday. And thanks to Halux, we have a little gift for our guests, our panelists. So we'll be presenting after we do this, and we'll take a few pictures to say thank you. But Halux, thank you so much for supporting Hot Topic Thursday, Raising Boys. I'm going to just let you share some more information about Lead-A-Freak International, the resources, how our listeners can reach you. Also, Eldamos, I see some are requesting to reach you as well. So some information, and then I think we have to do all in 60 seconds.
Let Michael take the lead. He's a priority for me.
Okay, somebody has said that marriage is the only place where the pastor connects two people with a vow, and thereafter they get the certificate.
Yeah.
Same with parenting. Nobody goes to school to learn how to be a parent. We all learn it. Try and error, and then we get it. In the past, we didn't used to have support. Today, there is support.
Yeah.
So if you are hearing me, let us not sit down and make the mistakes that our parents did. Because if we marry and parent today the way our parents did, we will lose it. Now, there are initiatives that support us. Amos here has about 4 or 5 different initiatives to support marriages, parents, couples. Let us take advantage of these things. Let us not just sit down and suffer. I run camps every year. My wife and I, we host camps for children. And we are trying to support, complement what it is that we are not getting. And I would encourage you to, take advantage of some of these things. Don't just sit down. That's what I would say. Because in physics, anything that is traveling at the same speed, if nothing is done to interrupt it, it will continue to go. So let us not sit down, let us not suffer in silence. I know from the work that we do that a lot of marriages are hurting, a lot of corporate people are hurting, people don't know what to do. And we wake up, we cry in our closets, and then we put on pawns and eyeshadow and come out and pretend all is well. Please seek help, take advantage of some of these initiatives, mobilizing all males. Creative Couples Conclave, Leadership Farm Summer Camp. And then we have created a platform, www.myleadershipfarm.com. This is a platform, we call it the Digital Grandmother. If you are looking for things that will help you to make meaning out of life, how do you handle conflict in marriage? How do you raise boys? How do you teach a child to have self-worth? Simple, 11 minutes you are done. 15 minutes you are done, 7 minutes you are done. And it is the same as watching comedy. It is the same as watching, I don't want to mention some names.
Please don't mention some names.
But Ghanaians are spending so much time and data on comedy. Let us commit this same time into learning. That can even be the basis of a conversation at home. And together we will take our homes, healthy homes. We will make our homes healthy. We will grow up healthy society. We can take back Ghana. But it's not going to come when Christians just fold their arms and wish that their problems are going to go away. It won't go away until you do something. So today, do something.
It won't go away until we do something. So if you visit the website, you can pick up a contact and you can reach out to Lead-A-Freak International. Eldamus, how can our listeners reach out for support? Yes.
Well, I'll say this. For those men out there, to be a man, you must show matured attitude that are nurtured. Man, M-A-N, matured attitudes nurtured. It's about manners that are matured. That makes you a man. So that you don't fly up in tantrums, don't throw buckets away, smash television screens. That is not akin to being a man. Now, for those who want us to interact, I'm hesitant, but I'll put out this number. Okay, so just go to Facebook. Amos Kevin-Annan is there. You find it.
Yeah.
But if you want to send a WhatsApp, use this line. Send a WhatsApp, 0266 803285. 0266 803285. For mothers out there who are struggling with their boys, there's a good book I found, which I'm in chapter 2 now. Moms Raising Boys. Amazing book. Challenge Bookshop is where to find it. I picked it, and I'm in chapter 2 of that book. Awesome. I do 4 books in a month. This month I'm doing 5 books. this month, and it's wonderful. That's the faith one I'm doing.
I do 25 a year.
This man is
I'll challenge you.
He does 25 in a year.
And this is where we wrap up. 25. Thank you all for joining us this morning on Hot Topic Thursday. Thank